Hey, we keep doing Pythagoras revision, and we finalized in the previous video, we finalized the first block dedicated to word problems, so mostly about quadrilaterals like rhombus, rectangle, squares. And here we will go to next set of questions. So the first one, find any unknowns in the phone. Okay, so what we need to find basically x and y. Let's do it. So first of all, let's start from y. So because it's 90 degrees angle, right, and you know that the sum is 180 for the triangle, so obviously this 45. Okay, because we have 45 degrees angle for y, so basically two angles which are the same, so we can figure out that this triangle is also isosceles, so that's why this side is also x. All right, so we can figure out what Pythagoras theorem will give us. Okay, so we got x squared plus another x squared equals 2 squared, which is hype, it's 4, so we'll get x equals square root of 2. Easy, right? Okay, let's move next. So in the next task we have a triangle, isosceles triangle, so that means it's also 7, so two sides the same. We also have height, and we have 12 centimeters as the base. We know that this is apex, and if we have the height that we put from apex down to the opposite side in the isosceles triangle, it should be a median as well. So what does mean median? Means it splits their base on two equal parts. Okay, so that's why this part is 6, and we can establish Pythagoras theorem very easily for this triangle. Mark vertices. So we have 7 as hypotenuse, 7 squared equals to 6 squared plus h squared, from where we've got 49 minus 36 equals h squared. So h is equal to, okay, let's calculate. So 49 minus 30, 19, minus 6, 13, square root of 13. That was this for h. Okay, what about x? Automatically x is just 6. Okay, easy. Next one, we've got so because it's height in 2, so and it splits the base in two equal parts, obviously this is an isosceles triangle, right? Because we have two equal parts, so this is also x. Okay, we have angles 30, 60, and we have y and x. Okay, so here you can use trigonometry. It will help you, or so I'll figure out very quickly and we find out one more significant property. Okay, so I'll use tangent of 60 of this angle. So tangent of 60 is actually y to x. So opposite, which is y, and x is adjacent. So tangent 60. Tangent by definition is sine 60 over cosine 60. That means if you have, let's say, cosine 60, it will give you square root of 3 over, no, it will give you 1 over 2. And sine 60 will give you sine 60 square root of 3 over t. So we'll get square root of 3. Okay, and that's why we have relation between y and x. So actually, if we divide y to x, we'll get square root of 3. So that means y is square root of 3 times x. Okay, that's what we have here. So we connect y and x, and now we can complete Pythagoras theorem, because we see that we have 1 centimeters for this triangle as hypotenuse, so we can complete Pythagoras theorem. So 1 squared equals to, say, x squared, and instead of y I put y squared also, but it will be square root of 3x squared, so it gives us 3x squared. Alright, so we'll get 1 equals to 4x squared, x equals 1 square root of 2. Okay, we can also calculate. So let's see, let's try to calculate. Oh, sorry. Yeah, that my bad. Actually, you've got 1 over 4 and just simply 1 over 2. Yeah, we don't need to calculate actually. Okay, so what about y? We'll get square root of 3 times 1 over 2, so we'll get square root of 3 over 2. Okay, so in this case, we apply trigonometry. Okay, so that's an idea. However, there is like one more significant outcome. So you see that when we found x, it's just 1 over 2. And let's have a look at hypotenuse. So without trigonometry, it's also possible because we have specific angle, which is 30 degrees. And what do you know? You know the following, that if this is hypotenuse, and you have x, which is opposite to the angle of 30 degrees, it automatically becomes hyp over 2. And indeed, we have x to be 1 over 2 here. So that's why for like a short pass, in order to solve this, you just simply need to say that x is already known. It's 1 over 2 because it's opposed to the angle of 30 degrees. Okay, so I applied trigonometry also to show you how it can be applied. Let's say in the case when angles are known, like 30 and 60, maybe other angles. So in this case, you'll definitely need to use tangent in order to connect y and x. All right, so this is done. Let's move next. An equilateral triangle here has sides of length 12 centimeters. Find the length of one of its altitudes. Okay, so first of all, let's drop an equilateral triangle where all sides the same. Okay, let's assume this is equilateral triangle. Find the length of one of its altitudes. So altitude in this case sort of height, and that's why we can put height down. And what we know, again, because it's also an isosceles, so the height will split the opposite side on 2 equal parts. So if we say this is x, this also x, so this part, it's a half of the x, so we can say it's half x over 2. All right, so equilateral triangle has side of length 12. So in this case, instead of x, we can put 12 everywhere. And where x over 2 will just simply get 6. All right, now let's see about interrelations. So if it's 60 degrees, right? Because, you know, for equilateral triangle, all angles the same. If you sum them up, you'll get 180. So 3 angles of alpha, let's say 180. So for each angle, we have 60 degrees. All right. So hence this angle is going to be 30 degrees. Why? Because height is also bisector. So it splits the angle where it comes from on 2 equal parts. So that's why each part is 30 degrees. And again, that's actually the truth. So that 12, yes, and half of it is going to be opposite leg. So exactly 6 is again 12 over 2. We again prove this property. about opposite side or opposite leg to the angle in right angle triangle, that which is half of hypotenuse. Okay, so find the length of one of its altitude. So this height is unknown. All right, let's do it. H squared plus 6 squared 36 equals 12 squared is 144. All right, so from here H is simply, let's calculate it. So 144 minus 36 and the square root of it. So it's about 1039, if to be precisely about 2 decimal place. Okay. All right. Next one. So we've completed. Let's erase. We need a space. All right. So what do we have? We have an area of triangle is given by the formula. Okay. So we have that. And we also have the following. Isosceles triangle has equal sides of length 8 and a base of 6. So it means here. Find the area of the triangle. Okay. So this is the general idea about how we calculate area of triangle. So we have height h, this vertical line segment, and so b is the base. So in order to calculate area, we apply this formula. Okay, let's find the area. So for this reason, we know that this is the base, and the only thing we need to work out is to find height, right? So this is h. And you know, in isosceles triangle, h basically height splits the bottom part into equal parts. So that's why each part becomes by 3. So that's why we can establish Pythagoras Theorem. So 8 squared, which is height, equals to h squared and 3 squared. Okay, so from here h squared is 64 minus 9, which is 64 minus 9 is 55. So square root of 55, let's calculate it. It's 7.42 rounded up to 2 dp. All right, so we found. Next, B part. An equilateral triangle has an area. Equilateral, okay? Find the length of its sides. So one more time, equilateral. We actually, from previous problem, we figure out that this angle is 30 degrees. So find the length of its side. So let's say this side is unknown, but we know that it's h and times the base. In this case, base is x. So this length is also x because all 3 sides are equal. So on the bottom side as well x. Okay, so we have the area. So we can say that using this formula for the area, we can say that area 16 square root of 3 equals to 1 over 2 bh. In this case, base is x and h is just unknown height. Okay, so that's how we can figure out. But also we have the following. So we can connect x. This is half of x, right? Because using the property of 30 degrees angle, which gives us the opposite leg to this angle is half of hyp, right? Hyp is x, so this opposite leg, I mark it with the blue. So this opposite leg is hyp over 2, so x over 2. So we can complete Pythagoras. So x squared equals to x over 2 squared and plus h squared. So let's simplify and say that we can transfer x squared minus x squared over 4, right? Because 2 distributed to the top and to the bottom, which give us h squared. And now let's subtract, it's just normal fraction. 3 over 4 x squared equals h squared. So we can figure out that h is square root of 3 over 2 of x, okay? So now we can use that and just plug back into where we need to find length of its side. So we don't need to have h. Instead, we will be focused on x. So this h goes here back to the formula. So we just connect, and basically this represents simultaneous equations. All right, so we'll get 16 square root of 3 from here, right, equals to 1 over 2 x times h, and h is square root of 3 over 2x. So from here we can say that x squared and 1 over 2 times square root of 3 and over 2 will get square root of 3 over 4 and 16 square root of 3. So we can divide both sides by square root of 3 and also multiply by 4. So we'll get the following. So we completely eliminate this fraction from the right side, and because we divide by 3, we also cancel square root of 3 and multiply by 4, so we'll get 16 times 4. Okay, from where x is square root of, I don't calculate because I know that square root of 16 and square root of 4 are good numbers, so it's going to be 4 times 2, which is 8. Okay, so we found out that the height is actually 8. Okay, that's an idea that application for the problems. So here we are waiting for next set. So we completed 2 blocks, and now in the last video for revision, we'll just go through those word problems. Okay, I guess about motion, I guess about probably traveling, so basically distance time graph probably will be involved. Okay, we'll see.